fight like a roaring fight, crypto and dreams under stadium lights, sweat and fire, hearts ignite. Evening sports buffet, with the kids we play. Highlights, wild scores collide, it's a riot live tonight. Blades drawn, bold on the chalkboard slate, rivals clash, it's a heavyweight fate. Every second pounding, can't wait. Evening sports buffet.
Hi, yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is fill out your bracket check. Fill out the men's and women's bracket. I filled out my men's and I'm going to go over my women's bracket sooner or later. I'll be walking to another edition of Early Evening Sports and Favorite Games for the 2025-2026 men's basketball bracket special coming up at 6:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The coach MARTELLI, he will be on. He will break down his bracket for me. For you, your viewing pleasure. It is Monday. It is March 16th. Tomorrow would be St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. To all you Irish, like Irish things, so welcome, not your Lucky Charms. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2025-2026 NCAA Men's Bracket Special here on the Cole County Entertainment Network and Goose Media. I am live here at Goose's Monte Cristo Lounge and Tobacconist here in Limerick, Pennsylvania. There are some gentlemen in the back playing pool. So they're yucking it up back there. Come on down, have a cigar, bring your own beverages. But welcome, 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 welcome. So the field was set yesterday. I don't have a problem with any of it. I'm a little surprised that they stuck Miami of Ohio as a play-in game. Look, the strength of schedule was not all that good. It was 300 and something out of 360 some odd teams that are in Division I college basketball. But to go 31-0 and then lose to UMass to be 31-1, you can only play who's on your schedule. In any conference, do you know how hard it is to go 31-0 and then you lose your first game? But they're in the play-in game. And if you want to know who's in the play-in games, Ferry Valley and Lehigh, from up in the Lehigh Valley, they will play the winner. Florida will play the winner of that particular game. Encourage you to get out. And then the other one is Texas, North Carolina State. And it's a pick-em game for me. A lot of people have BYU getting bounced by either one of those teams. Howard and UMBC, they are playing game. Miami of Ohio, SMU, are playing game. So 4 playing games, which I believe is asinine. I think it's stupid. But what do I know? So your number 1 seeds are Duke. They're the number 1 overall seed. They're in the East, Florida in the South. Out in the West, it's Arizona, no shock there. And then in the Midwest, it is Michigan, even though Purdue bounced them in the Big Ten Championship. 2 seeds are as follows: UConn in the East, Houston in the South. Out West, the 2 seed is Purdue, and in the Midwest, the 2 seed is Iowa State. And again, coming up at 6:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Coach Phil Martello, he'll be on. He'll break down his bracket for you. Look, there's a lot of sexy picks. A lot of people are going to pick upsets. The 8-9 games are always tough to pick. In the East, that's Ohio State and TCU. I've seen where it's 50-50. People are 50-50 on that particular thing. Number 6, Louisville, number 11, South Florida. A lot of people in South Florida. We'll see. The UCLA UCF game in the East, that is a 7-10 matchup. That's sort of 50-50 from what I've been seeing online. Then you go to the South, the 8-9 matchup, number 8 seed Clemson against the number 9 seed Iowa. Sort of seeing that go 50-50. St. Mary's and Texas A&M, that's a 7-10 matchup. It's like 60-40 St. Mary's from what I'm seeing. Out there in the West, the 8-9 matchup, the 8 seed Villanova, locally here, against the number 9 seed Utah State. I've seen a lot of people on Utah State in this particular matchup. They've had a fantastic season. Just going through the rest of the bracket and the BYU matchup, BYU the 6th seed, Texas North Carolina State game. Some people are going to take the winner of the playing game over BYU's 7-10 matchup. Number 7 Miami and number 10 Missouri, 10 seed. A lot of people on Mizzou, from what I've seen. Out there in the Midwest, you have the 8-9 matchup, the 8 seed Georgia against the number 9 seeded St. Louis Pelicans. I've seen this 50-50 as well. 5-12 matchup that I'm going to be tuned into, 5 Texas Tech, the 5th seed taking on 12 seed Akron. There are people that are on Akron. Texas Tech is a little bit beat up coming into this game. As we go down, number 7, my Kentucky Wildcats, the 7th seed out there in the West, and then number 10 seed Santa Clara. A lot of people this is 50-50 too. I don't like the way Kentucky's been playing all year. They've been inconsistent. There are a lot of people that have taken Kentucky, though, just because it's Kentucky. But again, don't let that fool you. So those are some of the matchups. That'll be interesting. Some of the others, when you take a look at, what would normally be upsets in the East, 5th seed St. John's against the number 12 seed Northern Iowa. Those were some of the upsets happen. I don't know if it's going to happen this year or not, though. In the South, the number 5 seed Vanderbilt Commodores and the number 12 seed McNeese State. I've seen some people taking McNeese State. Don't sleep on McNeese State. Some of these 5-12 matchups. In the East, the number 4 seed Nebraska Cornhuskers against the number 13 seed Troy Trojan. Of course, the 6 seed North Carolina Tar Heels against the Virginia Commonwealth University. They are the 11th seed. Again, North Carolina's they beat Duke the first time. They've been inconsistent since then. So I don't know. We'll see there. And then just look at some of the other matchups, the 5-12. Out in the West, you got the number 5th seed at Wisconsin Badgers against the 12th seed at High Point. Would that be an upset? John Calipari's Arkansas Razorbacks, the 4th seed, playing number 13 seed Hawaii. Again, some of these matchups, I don't foresee upsets, but we will see. Out there in the Midwest, and I will be interested to see what happens is the 3-seeded Virginia Cavaliers against the 14th seed Wright State. Again, in the new era of NIL and so forth. Transfer portals, don't be too surprised. But on the 19th, which is this Thursday, the games. In the East at 2:50 p.m., it'll be Duke against Siena. 12:15, Ohio State and TCU will kick it off. Louisville and South Florida, that'll be at 1:30 p.m. At 4:05 p.m., it'll be Michigan State against North Dakota State. Then in the South on Thursday at 3:15 p.m., Vanderbilt and McNeese State will tip it off. 12:40 p.m., it'll be Nebraska and Troy. Later on at 6:50, it'll be North Carolina against DCU. And then way later on, 9:25, Illinois and Penn. 7:35 p.m., St. Mary's and Texas A&M. And then at 10:10 p.m., Houston and Idaho. Then out west on Thursday, Wisconsin at High Point. That'll be at 1:50 p.m. 4:25 p.m., it'll be Arkansas and Hawaii. 7:25 p.m. on Thursday, BYU on the winner of the Texas-North Carolina State game. 10 p.m. on Thursday out there in the West, it'll be Gonzaga and Kennesaw State. In the Midwest on Thursday, it'll be Michigan playing the winner of the Howard UMBC game. That's at 7:10 p.m. Then at 9:45 p.m., Georgia and St. Louis will tip it off. And there you have it. Friday's games, 7:10 p.m. in the East, it'll be St. John's in Northern Iowa. 9:45 p.m., it'll be Kansas and California Baptiste. 7:25 p.m., it'll be UCLA and UCF. 10 o'clock, way late. It'll be UConn and Furman. In the South at 9:25 p.m., late one, Florida and the winner of the Prairie View and Lehigh game. 6:50 p.m., it'll be Clemson and Iowa tipping off. And out west on Friday, 1:35 p.m., it'll be Arizona and Long Island. 4:10 p.m., it'll be Villanova, Utah State. 10:10 p.m., it'll be Miami and Missouri. 7:35 p.m., it'll be Purdue. Then out in the Midwest, the Friday games at 12:40 p.m., it'll be Texas Tech and Akron. 3:15 p.m., Alabama and Hofstra. 4:25 p.m., it'll be the winner, Tennessee, to play the winner of the Miami of Ohio and SMU game. 1:50 p.m., it'll be Virginia and Wright State. 12:15 p.m., Kentucky and Santa Clara will tip it off. And then at 2:50 p.m., Iowa State against Tennessee State. So again, comments, questions, tell me who you're picking. Tell me who's your Sweet 16. Tell me who's your Elite Eight. Tell me who's your Final Four. Tell me who's your national champion. Questions, comments, all welcome. Again, let me know who your picks are. Again, I've gone over these numerous times. Again, some of them are going to be real easy to pick, and others are going to be tough, really tough, just because of the way certain teams are playing at this juncture of the season. And there's some heading into the tournament that are playing fantastically well, and there's others that were playing fantastically well. And toward the end of the season here, they've sort of had a couple slip-ups. There's been injuries. And you would, look, it's happened before. It's happened twice. But I think all the 1 seeds will most likely get out of the first round. Probably even the second. It's the third and fourth rounds where they might slip up. tell me who you think, which number one will go out first. Could it be the 2 seeds that advance all the way to the Final Four? Who's the sleeper? Who's the sleeper that everybody's looking for? Who's your sleeper? Perhaps. Could it be a Michigan State? Could it be a St. John's? Could it be a Vanderbilt? Could it be an Illinois? Some of the lower seeds. Could Utah State as a 9 seed make a run? Could Wisconsin catch fire? Calipari's Arkansas team make a run? Could Gonzaga get over the hump? Purdue's always had fantastic basketball teams. They've just never been able to get over the hump. Can Michigan make a huge run? Perhaps Virginia again can make a run. Can Iowa State make a run? I see him in the green room. The coach, Phil Martelli. Before I bring him on, though, I have to do a proper introduction. Oh, that's right. You don't recognize this. Well, at least you said it on YouTube that it was a pipe on it. Just don't really talk. So I just play a snippet of it. Let's bring him on. The coach, Phil Martelli. Coach, thanks for joining, my friend.
Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So the field is set. When it came out yesterday, are there any surprises? Anybody that you thought is ranked lower than they should be? Anybody that's higher than you should be that you think? So when they first came out with it and you had a chance to look at it, any surprises for you?
Well, when it came out, I was in the room with the VCU group, waiting to see and that's where I was kind of centered in. Immediately after their selection party in Pittsburgh, I drove home on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and then I got up this morning and I went to the Coaches versus Cancer breakfast in Philadelphia. So I kind of listened more than I
Okay.
scrubbed the. I think it's interesting that UConn, St. John's are in the same region. I think all of the talk, and it seems to me to be less talk, to be honest with you, but of that limited talk, there's not a lot of, oh my goodness, there's a Cinderella, this team's sitting there. I saw Utah State last night saying, well, we're not really a 9, we should be a 7. Unless you sit in that room and have every single number that committee has, I'm not sure how you can kind of debate. I think it's more, to be honest with you, I think it's more when you play and where you play. And
Right.
those that played late into the weekend, like Arkansas, like VCU, I think those that play late into the weekend, Sunday, Purdue, Michigan, I think it's really key to look at when they play again. Do they play Thursday or do they play Friday? They're at a disadvantage. And it sounds silly to say that. You're going to the NCAA tournament, for Christ's sake, and it's a disadvantage. But you play Sunday and you wrap up in a city like Purdue in Chicago. Well, you have to get back to campus, get yourself regrouped, and then you're traveling again. If you play Thursday, you're traveling Tuesday afternoon.
Right.
So you don't really get a chance to settle in. You don't get to, you really have to get settled in on your academics. You have to get really settled in on, is my family coming? Are they not coming? You have all of these texts and emails and phone calls that you want to return. And it's just people sending you well wishes, but you feel like I've got to get back to every single person. And at some point for the players or the coaches, they have to understand it's about that game, because it's great to be in the tournament. There's no denying that. There's absolutely no denying that. But to really be in the tournament, win your first game. Then the juices are really flowing. So I look at it more, when did they finish?
Right.
When do they play? And I'm not advocating for losing early in your conference tournament. I may be talking about maybe we should look at conference tournaments being a little bit earlier.
That's what I was just going to say. Michigan's playing on Thursday, but they play late 7:10 p.m. I don't know if that's going to make that much of a difference. We were talking
Well, when
about
you're a
Arkansas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. You're a 1. You're a 1 because of your body of work.
Right. Just looking at some of the brackets, I've had a chance to look at them a lot now. We'll start with the East. Of course, everybody's going to talk about Duke. I don't know what we're getting out of Kansas because Kansas has been so inconsistent. St. John's can sort of make a run, I guess. Everyone's looking at Michigan State. Like you said, UConn and St. John's are in the East. If you had to take a look at the East, other than Duke, or maybe other than UConn, who's been a little bit inconsistent as well, is there any sort of sleeper in the East that you're taking a look at that you might say, they might be able to make a run?
It's not a sleeper, but it is a high profile program with a high profile, maybe the highest profile coach now in St. John's. And I forget that number of 5, or forget having to go to San Diego to start this out. But here's one of the things that Rick Pitino has, that John Calipari has, that Fred Hoiberg has, is they have that pro experience. In college, you don't really play a high level game on a Thursday and then come back Saturday.
Right.
We usually have 2 days, right? We play Wednesday, we play again Saturday. We play Saturday, we play Tuesday. So you have a 2-day prep. When you're in this situation, this is very much a pro situation. Play in Chicago on Thursday, fly on Friday, and then you play Boston because you're the Celtics, you play at home on Saturday. They're used to that, and they're really gifted at that kind of preparation, because this really is preparation. It's not practicing because their legs are kind of worn down. We have to remember, we start basketball practice in June now. We used to call that player development. Now we're starting practice in June. The kids are tired. That's why you see these injuries. And I like the idea of all of these look like really nice horses. I don't want to make players horses, but they look like really nice horses. And sometimes you got to say, who's riding that horse? Who's the jockey? And I'm going to bet on the jockey. So I if you're going to go outside chalk, I like St. John's.
Okay. We get to the South. Florida's the obvious number 1 seed. I'm going down the bracket here. I'm looking at a team like maybe Vandy making a run.
Good
maybe
point.
Illinois, maybe Houston. Who out of that bracket, other than maybe Florida, do you like coming out of there?
Well, I think you make a really good point about Illinois. They have one of, if not the best offenses. And I go against the normal grain because everybody chants. Defense wins championships.
Right.
Well, I'd like to know the last Super Bowl that was won 10-7. What was the last big college basketball game that was won 47-42? You have to score. And Illinois can score from all positions. They have a brilliant freshman who has come from an unknown to becoming a lottery pick. But it is really, really, really challenging to go against Houston. Yes, they start 2 freshmen, but their physicality, their toughness, and let's not mistake this now, the regional is in Houston.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Florida has the pedigree. Obviously, they won a national championship. They bumped a little bit early. They've struggled with their 3-point shooting recently. So if you made me say somebody, I would say Houston.
Okay. Then out west, Arizona, the 1 seed. Some of the other teams I'm looking at, Purdue won the Big 12 tournament. I'm sorry, the Big Ten tournament. But I'm always waiting for Purdue to do something every year, and they always fall short, Coach. Arkansas, Wisconsin, can they make a deep run? Everyone's darling out of the West is going to be Arizona because they've just been that consistent all
Well,
year.
to me, for whatever this is, November to March, the things that I've watched on TV, they look like a juggernaut. Michigan looks like a juggernaut. And I only say this because Arizona's three-point shooting is their Achilles heel. They're 300 or lower in three-point percentage, three-pointers made. So their offense could impact that, but they're just so deep and strong and committed to playing that style. I'm going to pick one, and I'm not saying they'll go, but I think the whole country's going to be want to watch BYU. That young fella, could put up 40, and we could have, and you and I might be the only ones that would remember it. He could put that whole thing on his back and do like a Danny Manning and the Miracles type thing and make the run. You know, if it kind of works out, they could go to the second round and play Gonzaga. Gonzaga's better defensively than offensively. We have never said that. We have absolutely positively never said that. Purdue could be sitting there. Purdue, you know, their jockey is not just a great coach, but they have a jockey in Brandon Smith, the point guard. But I would make that appointment TV to watch BYU.
And then out in the Midwest, I'm looking at Michigan, Iowa State. You know, I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-2 matchup coming out of there. I mean, Ohio State, tough. They're tough.
Yep.
Michigan's tough. They're sort of kind of, I don't want to say mirror images of one another, but they're battle tested.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, and I do it this way. If you're a basketball fan and you're following it and you're going along, when you see a score that makes you say, what? And Michigan had any number of those scores in November and December. They beat teams plus 40. They beat 5 or 6 teams plus 30. And this is against a legitimate schedule. Their size, their scoring ability, and they've lost 3 times, right?
Yeah.
And Elliot Cadeau is going to be the whole key. Can he drive that bus? Because his backup, LJ Kaysen, is out. So Elliot Cadeau, to me, is the key to them actually cutting down the nets in Indy. The same thing happens with Iowa State. Any number of times. In the last week, they had a score in their league that was 70-something to 40-something. In league, no. In a bye game in November, sure. And I just know in watching them, you can feel their physicality. I measure them up physicality-wise like with Houston. And they're like Michigan State, right? They're going to wear you down. And in this tournament, if you wear down physically, mentally, or psychologically, you're going home.
Right. So I'll bypass everything else. Give me your Elite 8. You have to pick an Elite 8 right now, filling out your bracket. Who is your Elite 8?
Wow. Elite 8. I'm going to go Michigan, Iowa State. I'm living with you there. I'm going to ride BYU, Arizona to that one. I'm going to go St. John's, UConn, game number 4 in that. Right? What do they call that? That's not a trilogy anymore. I'm not sure. You're the wordsmith here.
I don't know what it is.
And I think that I'm going to ride with Vandy getting through.
Okay.
And I'm going Vandy, Houston to get through.
Okay.
I think the crown is going to weigh heavy on Florida at some point.
Florida. Who's your Final Four?
I got to go Arizona, Michigan, St.
Okay.
John's and Houston.
All right. Who's playing for the national title and who wins it, Coach?
Michigan is going to play St. John's for the national championship.
Oh,
And
wow.
ironically, those teams had an exhibition game in whenever we were allowed to play exhibition games in October. They played in Madison Square Garden. And I think Michigan's going to be the national champ.
Okay. A lot of people are going to pick Michigan. A lot of people are going to pick, they're going to pick 1 seeds.
Yes.
Everyone's going to pick a 1 seed because that's just a sexy pick. I don't know. I'm going to make my pick at the end of the show. It might surprise some people, but maybe it won't surprise anybody. Again, my sleepers, Coach, if I go to the East, I was looking at the East. Some people might say UCF might do a little damage. I'm going to have UCF as a sleeper for me in the East. In the South, as I take a look at it again, I would like to say St. Mary's. I just don't know if they're. I don't know if they're big enough. To be quite honest with you. Out in the West, taking a look at it again, I don't even know if there's a sleeper in the West. Maybe Utah State makes a run. And then out in the Midwest, one of my sleeper teams. I'm a Kentucky Wildcat fan.
Right.
I just don't like the way they're playing.
No.
I'll give you one of my picks. I think Santa Clara is going to upset Kentucky in the first round. I really do. I think Santa Clara can maybe make a little bit of noise. If they win their first round game, they'd have to play Virginia. But at least in the first round, I think Santa Clara. That's my big upset.
All right.
So,
all right.
Coach.
But you know what the best part is? Put all your picks down in pencil and a pencil that has an eraser because you can always erase.
Everybody's bracket is busted after the first day anyway. Most of them. You were talking about coaches for cancer. Talk to me a little bit about that. You said you went there. Was it today?
Yes, it was today at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. About 300 people. We had panelists. We had Big Five Hall of Famers. We had former players from the Big Five. And the whole idea here is everybody wants to talk about raise awareness. Well, there's nobody out there that thinks cancer's not nasty. So forget awareness. Let's raise dollars. Let's go to the doctors in a true Philadelphia style and say, come on, give me something. Give me an improvement. And the numbers are improving. But until we can get to the day that no family hears your loved one has cancer, we cannot stop fighting. And I'm not a believer in beat cancer. I'm not into that. I want to crush cancer. I'd like to really, and it won't happen in my lifetime, but I'd like to put the American Cancer Society out of business.
Okay.
I really would.
And then tell me a little bit make a difference, one idea, one person at a time. How's that going?
Well, my make a difference. It's my public speaking. It's a one-man company, public speaking podcast, and I don't want to be seen. And I say this reverently. I don't want to be seen as the coach. I want to be seen as a person like you that's out there, maybe just making a difference by saying hello to somebody, picking up a phone, sending a text, having a conversation. Guest on my podcast, probably 50% are in athletics. The other 50% are in the community doing unbelievable things. And I do believe that this is a challenge with all the gifts that I've been given, that it's now my charge in every situation that I enter into to truly make a difference.
Here, here. Coach, thank you so much for coming on. I always appreciate the time. I know people are busy, but I always appreciate
thank you for the invitation.
Yes, sir. Enjoy the tournament. I'll be
you.
picking your brain after all said and done. I'll be
All
picking your
right,
brain.
there you go. Thank you.
All right, my man. Thank you, sir.
All right. I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Phil Martelli Me picking Michigan. I was going to pick Michigan. But then I researching other things. And again, thanks to him for coming in. So this is what I'm going to do. Try and stretch this out to 8 o'clock. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start in the East. I'm going to make my picks. I'm going to take a mini break and then I'm going to come back and then I'll go through the rest of it. So let's go to the East. Look, Duke against Siena, forget about it. Duke will win that game. This is where it starts to get tricky. Number 8 Ohio State at number 9 TCU. It's a coin flip, it really is. But TCU, I believe, beat Florida. They played some teams tough. Ohio State about a month ago was on the outside looking in, a month and a half ago. They went on a nice run. But I just think at this particular juncture of the season, TCU is playing a little bit better than Ohio State. I'm going to take TCU as the first mini upset, I guess. Really not an upset. But I think TCU beats Ohio State. The 5 seeded St. John's, the Johnnies, against number 12, Northern Iowa. Usually would be an upset alert just because 12s normally beat 5s half the time. I'll forget it. St. John's will win this game. I'm going to say it's going to be easy, but St. John's will win this game. Then the 4 seed, Kansas City. Kansas Jayhawks take on California Baptiste. Kansas looked like hell against Houston. Big 12 tournament. But Kansas has too many athletes. So I'm taking Kansas to win out. Number 6 seed at Louisville, Cardinal. Taking out the South Florida Bulls. Went back and forth on this game. Normally upsets 11-6 is where you look. Both these teams like to heave up threes. So there's going to be a lot of threes. There's going to be a lot of rebounds. But I believe Michael Brown Jr. is out for Louisville. Upset number 1 in the first round. I've got South Florida taking out Louisville in the East. Number 3, Michigan State. Number 14, North Dakota State. Forget about it. I have Michigan State winning there. UCLA and UCF. It's the 7 seed against the 10 seed. I want to take UCLA, but I can't. I just think UCF is playing a little bit better at this particular juncture. The Bruins have, I believe, Donovan Dent. But UCF, across the board, I think they're a little bit bigger. UCLA is a little bit banged up heading into this one. So I guess a mini upset. I got UCF. Take out UCLA. And number 2, UConn against Furman. UConn should win this hands down. Which brings me to the round of 32. Sorry. So there you have it. And those are the first round matchups in the East. So in the second round, I'll have Duke playing TCU, St. John's playing Kansas, so Florida playing Michigan State, and UCF playing. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I will be back. Enjoy music. And back here, Bruce's Monte Crystal Lounge and Tobacconist here in Limerick, Pennsylvania. Come on down. Got about an hour left before they close up shop here. Be safe out there with this weather. But I am here again at Bruce's Monte Crystal Lounge, Tobacconist, Limerick, Pennsylvania. 2025-2026 NCAA men's basketball bracket special. Yes, NCAA. What did I put? Yeah, NCAA men's basketball. In my day, I can't spell anything. It's a product of old age. And thanks for Phil Martelli coming on. You're on the Cole County Entertainment Network and Goose Media. So let's go to the South. I'll make the first round picks here. My first round picks. Florida, #1 seed, playing the Prairie View and Lehigh winner. Forget about it. Florida will win that. Here's another 8-9 matchup that went back and forth on. #8 seed playing the #9 seed. #8 seed Clemson playing the #9 seed Iowa. Clemson's big. They have a big lineup. But Iowa has Mr. Benning. Is it Steritz? Yeah. Steritz. Look, it's a toss-up. But I'm going to take Iowa. #5 seed Vandy will play McNeese State. It's a trendy upset pick if you want to take McNeese State. I wouldn't blame you because #12 always beats a 5, but I'm going to ride the Vanderbilt wave right now. I got Vandy taking out McNeese State, or it's just McNeese now. #4 Nebraska taking on the 13 seeded Mr. Troy Trojan. I think Nebraska just has too much. I think they beat Troy. Another game I went back and forth on. The #6 seed North Carolina Tar Heels take on VCU. I went back and forth. I want to take VCU, but I can't. No Caleb Wilson from North Carolina. That's why I wanted to take VCU. I just think North Carolina in the first round will find a way to win the game. Then the 3-seeded Illinois fighting Illini, taking on #14 seed. And I just think that Illinois has too much. I have Illinois winning that game. Now, another 7-10 matchup, St. Mary's against Texas A&M. I think it'll be close, but I think St. Mary's squeaks it out. And then the #2 seeded Houston Cougars against the Idaho Vandals, the 15 seed. Houston all day, forget about it. Move them on. And down the West, #1 seed Arizona Wildcats taking on #16 Long Island. Forget about it, Arizona. Then we have the 8 seeded the Villanova Wildcats taking on the Utah State Aggies. Some people are going to take Nova. I am not taking Nova. College State just seems to have the momentum right now. They shoot the threes well. Did you really consider it an upset? I don't know. Maybe not. I've got Utah State over Villanova. Number 5 seeded Wisconsin against number 12 High Point. Forget about it. Wisconsin will win this game. Then the number 4 seed, the Arkansas Razorbacks against number 13 Hawaii Rainbows, 13 seed. Arkansas should win this handily. Then number 6, the BYU Cougars will play the 11th seed, the winner of the Texas North Carolina State game. I know Coach just said that he's high on BYU. BYU, like you said, they've got the nation's leading scorer in AJ. I had it written down here. AJ DeBansa. I have Texas winning the playing game, and then I have Texas beat BYU. So that's an upset for me. Then the number 3 seed Gonzaga Zags take on number 14 Kennesaw State. Gonzaga easy. Then the 7th seeded Miami Hurricanes take on the number 10 seed Missouri Tigers. I went back and forth on this one, but I'm taking Mizzou, 10 seed over 7. Some mild upsets in my first round of the bracket. And then number 2 seed Purdue against number 15 seed the Queens. Forget about it, Purdue all the way. Then we go to the Midwest. Number 1 seed Michigan against the UMBC and Howard. Michigan all day long. Then the number 8 seeded Georgia Bulldogs are playing the number 9 seed St. Louis Pelicans. And looking at my notes, a lot of people are taking Georgia. I'm taking St. Louis. I think St. Louis has something for them. People are going to say Georgia has better athletes. Maybe that's true. I don't know. But St. Louis has something to prove. I think St. Louis takes out Georgia. So another 8-9 game. It's a picking game, basically. So then the 5-12 matchup, number 5 Texas Tech, the 5th seed. It's 12 seed Akron. Look, Texas Tech, a little bit beat up. Number 12 Akron. Don't sleep on them. Period. This is one of my major upsets of the first round. I'm taking number 12 Akron over the 5th seed at Texas Tech Red Raiders. I just have a gut feeling. A lot of people will take Texas Tech just because it's Akron. Yeah, what's Akron going to do? Texas Tech has better athletes. Gut feeling. The 4th-seeded Alabama Crimson Tide takes on number 3, 13 seed Hofstra. I have Alabama advancing. Then the 6th-seeded Tennessee Volunteers will play the winner of the Miami of Ohio SMU playing game. I believe, you know what, I'm pulling for Miami of Ohio to win that game. Either or, they're not going to be Tennessee either, so I'm taking Tennessee. 3 seed Virginia taking on number 14 Wright State. Virginia all day long. And again, you heard me say it. My Kentucky Wildcats, the 7th seed against the 10th seed at Santa Clara. Kentucky's just banged up, man. They're hurt. They're banged up. Santa Clara is big. They're efficient. I think that poses a problem for Kentucky. You heard me say it here. I'm taking Santa Clara, the 10 seed, over my 7 seed Kentucky Wildcats, and then the 2 seed Iowa State Cyclones taking on the 15 seed Tennessee State. Iowa State all the way. We're coming up to the top of the hour, 6:51. Questions, comments? Tell me who your picks are. As I take a puff of a nicely flavored stuff. I hear Goose's Money Crystal Lounge. It's back with us on the Cole County Entertainment Network and Goose Media. I wanted to take a look at this. What are the odds? What are your favorite teams' odds? What are the odds of 8% about the change? Oh, by the way, yeah, I'm looking for it. I'm trying to go to one of the Vegas sites. I'm trying to get to one of the sites. Duke is the favorite to win the whole thing. Plus 300 at DraftKings Sportsbook. They're followed by Michigan, plus 60. Arizona, plus 390. Defending national champion, Florida. They are at plus 750. No other team has shorter odds than plus 1,000. I'm looking for some more odds. I'm trying to go, like I said, to one of the Vegas sites. If you go to DraftKings, not DraftKings, go to FanDuel. As soon as it comes up, I'm sure FanDuel will have their odds. So if you want to lay a little money down on a Cinderella, we can show some dough. Let's check it out here. And of course, oh, here we go. It's coming up now. Let's look at what FanDuel's saying. Taking its good old time, it's buffering, but it will come up at some point in that. Like I said, tell me who your Final Four is. Hell, tell me who your Sweet 16 is. Hell, tell me who your whole bracket is. Pick by pick. Let's look at what they have here. They have Duke at plus 70. They've got Arizona and Michigan at plus 360. Florida's plus 800. They have Connecticut plus 3,300. Purdue plus 2,700. Iowa State plus 1,800. Houston plus 1,000. They have Michigan State at plus 6,000. Gonzaga at plus 5,500. Virginia is plus 6,500. Illinois plus 2,200. Kansas plus 800. If you want to go all the way down the list, as I'm looking at it, Clemson's plus 100,000. There are a multitude of teams at plus 100,000. So you want to put $1 on Villanova? There you go. You can hear the guys in the background here. They're still shooting pool. Let's see what my Kentucky Wildcats are. They're plus 25,000. They're not going to. Their final four. Odds to reach the final four from the East: Duke minus 135. No, plus 106. Number two, Connecticut Huskies to make the final four plus 500. Yes. Minus 850. No. Third seeded Michigan State Spartans to make the final four plus 800. To not make it, minus 50. Let's see what else. To reach the final four in the West, number one, Arizona Wildcats, minus 135, yes, plus 110, no. Number two, Purdue Boilermakers to make it to the final four, plus 460, yes, minus 700. For 8 seed Villanova, they are plus 15,000 to make the final four. Out there in the Midwest, Michigan is minus 130 to make it to the final four. They're plus 104 to not make the final four. Number two, Iowa State to make the final four, plus 340, yes. Minus 480. Okay. Number three, Virginia to make the final four, plus 1,000. No. Minus 2,200. And then out in the down in the South, Florida is plus 170 to make the final four. No, minus 115. Number two, seeded Houston Cougars in that bracket, plus 210 to make the final four, minus 280. Illinois, the three seed, plus 400 to make the final four, minus 590. Parlay the year round. What else? On the women's side, that's the women. Connecticut minus 270 to win a whole thing. UCLA is plus 500. Texas is plus 850. South Carolina is plus 850. LSU plus 2,200, and Michigan plus 10,000. So we are almost at the top of the hour. I am going to take another break, and I will be back, and I will pick the second round of the NCAA men's bracket. You're on the bracket special at Goose's Monte Crystal Lounge at the back on this on the Cole County Entertainment Network and Goose Media. I will be back in a short. And we are back. Again, 2025-26 NCAA men's bracket basketball special. Here at Goose's Big Crystal Lounge with the back winners, Newark, Pennsylvania, Cole County Entertainment Network and Goose Media. And stop on down. You got about an hour left. For maybe like a little itty bitty cigar at this point. Again, Phil Martelli was on earlier. And he picked Michigan as his national champion. He's saying Michigan's going to play St. John's for the national title. Let's get to the second round, shall we? Let's go to the East. I've got number one seeded Duke playing the ninth seeded TCU Horned Frogs. It's going to be a tough out. Tough out. But I think Duke should win that game. I have Duke going to the Sweet 16. And I have the fifth seeded St. John's, the Johnnies, the Redmond, playing the four seed Kansas. I think Kansas just, they're in disarray. I think St. John's wins that game. Excuse me. Then I have the 11th seeded South Florida Bulls playing the 3 seeded Michigan State Spartans. I just trust Michigan State in the spot. Tom Izzo, March Madness. He always seems to get the job done, taking it to the Sweet 16. So I have Michigan State moving on. It's 3 seed. And then I've got the number 2 UConn Huskies playing the UCF Golden Knights, 10 seed. UConn should win it. So I've got UConn. Then in the South, number 1 Florida, the 1 seed in the South, playing the 9th seed Iowa Hawkeyes. I just think Iowa wins the game. I'm sorry, Florida wins. Excuse me. Florida wins it, I think, just because of their front court. Then number 5, Vanderbilt Commodores playing the Nebraska 400s. There's the 4 seed. I'm going to ride the Vandy train right now for this thing. Vanderbilt, a little bit tougher than Nebraska is. I've got Vanderbilt heading on to the Sweet 16. Then the number 3 Illinois Illini against the number 6 seed North Carolina. I trust Illinois more in this situation. North Carolina just a little bit too inconsistent. And obviously, Carolina without Caleb Wilson, I think just where it bites them in the ass. I've got Illinois moving on to the Sweet 16. Then number 2 Houston Cougars taking on number 7 St. Mary's. St. Mary's pulling upset. I don't know. But Houston can play against anybody in the country. I think Houston just too many athletes. I've got Houston out in the West. Number 1 Arizona playing the 9th seeded State Aggies. Arizona wins. I think Arizona should probably win at home. And number 4 seeded Arkansas Razorbacks in the West against the number 5 Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin can shoot the ball, especially the big men. I know for Arkansas, I just think that's it done. I think they'll wear them down. I have Arkansas. Sweet 16. Then again, I've got Texas winning that first game. They'll beat BYU. Gonzaga. I've got actually Texas winning, beating Gonzaga. Zags are not going to have Brandon Huff. That's a lot of production to lose. So I've got Texas moving on to the Sweet 16. Then the 10th seed, Missouri Tigers playing number 2 Boilermakers. Forget it. Purdue win that game. Out in the Midwest, number 1 seeded Michigan playing number 9 seed St. Louis Billikens. I got Michigan winning that game all day. Then the number 4, Alabama Crimson Tide, playing the number 12 seed Akron. I think Alabama. I know people will be scared because of Akron. I just think Alabama. Then the number 3 Virginia Cavaliers against the number 6 seed Tennessee Volunteers. I have Virginia moving on in a close one. And then I've got the number 2 seed Iowa State Cyclones taking on number 10 seed Santa Clara. I have Iowa State moving on to the Sweet 16. Which leads me to 315. So in the East, as I'm just looking over my notes here, as I go to the next game. So the number 1 seed playing the number 5 seed St. John's. I think it'll be close. I want to take St. John's, but I can't. I got Duke winning that game. Then number 2, UConn playing number 3 Michigan State. Just think UConn the last quarter of the season has been a little inconsistent. I've got Michigan State using UConn to advance to the Elite Eight. That's in the East. Then in the South, number 1 Florida against number 5 Vandy. I would like to ride the Vandy train again, but I think Vandy beat Florida. Anyways, not Vandy, but I think Florida will want revenge. I think I'm taking Florida. I've got Florida advancing. Number 3 Illinois against number 2 Houston. Illinois is better offensively. Houston's better defensively. I just think Houston will probably shut them down enough. For Mr. Phil Martelli's notebook on Houston is if they can't shoot threes. I don't think it's going to matter. I think Houston will be close. Then out in the West, I've got the number 1 seed Arizona Wildcats playing the Arkansas Razorbacks. They will be playing for a chance to go to the Elite Eight. I've got Arizona. And then I've got the number 2 seeded Purdue Boilermakers playing the 11th seed Texas Longhorns. Purdue will win. And then out in the Midwest, number 1 Michigan playing number 4 Alabama. I've got Michigan going on. And then number 3 Virginia Cavaliers playing the number 2 seed Iowa State Cyclones. I think Iowa State is a little bit too athletic. Then we get to the Elite Eights. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to 8 o'clock. I have a feeling because of the weather, what's coming, we're going to close a little bit. So, in the Elite Eights, number 1 Duke against number 3 seed Michigan State. I have Michigan State moving on. I think Michigan State might out physical Duke in this particular situation. So I've got Michigan State beating Duke. Final 4. Then number 1 Florida against the number 2 seed Houston Cougars. I've got Houston moving on. I think Houston beats Florida. If it knocks them out, so I've got Houston moving on. Final 4. The West. Number 1 Arizona Wildcats against the 2 seed Purdue Boilermakers. I think Arizona gets it done, but it's close. Got Arizona moving on. And then number 1 Michigan, the seed against number 2 seed Iowa State. I got number 2 Iowa State upsetting 1 seed Michigan. So that brings me to the Final 4. Number 3 seed Michigan State against the number 2 seed Houston Cougars. I got used to moving on because of what they can do defensively. I understand they can't shoot the free ball, but I think they get the job done. I think they beat Michigan State in a close one, and then out in the West, Midwest Final Four matchup. Number one Arizona, it's number two Iowa State. I saw them play in the Big 12. Iowa State should won that game. I think Arizona wins this one as well. Which brings me to national championship game. Will pit a couple of Big 12 conference foes. Now they're foes. I've got the number one seeded Arizona Wildcats beating the two seed Houston Cougars. I have them winning. What do I have down? I have them winning 84-78. No. What do I have? No, 80-84. I bet it. Arizona, ladies and gentlemen, will be your national champions. Again, 7:15 here on the East Coast, 4:15 on the West Coast. I'm going to take one more final break, and I'm going to come back. Again, I will repeat those, and then I will go over some little tidbits for your betting pleasure. I will be right back a couple minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. And we are back here from Houston Monte Crystal Labs, back when this here in Limerick, Pennsylvania. 2025-2026 NCAA men's bracket special here on the Cole County Entertainment Network and Goose Media. So I found this kind of interesting. This is on the DraftKings Network. They came out with 5 2026 March Madness upset predictions to help you win your bracket. See what they say. They're saying the 12-seeded Akron Zips. They will beat Texas Tech. They're saying the 11-seeded UC Grand will beat North Carolina. Santa Clara to beat my number 7-seeded Kentucky Wildcats. They're saying the number 13-seed Hofstra could pull an upset against the 4-seeded Alabama. And they're also saying that the High Point Panthers, the 12th seed, will take out the number 5 seed Wisconsin. So again, CBS oh, here we go. The Sporting News has come out with theirs. They have Duke, Houston, Arizona, and Iowa State in the Final Four. So an ACC team and 3, count them, Big 12 teams. Looking over some of their stats. Most likely first and second round upsets based on their KenPom analytics. They are saying that NC State will beat Texas, and NC State, the 11th seed, will beat BYU, number 6 seed in the West. They're saying number 10 seed Santa Clara will beat by number 7 seed Kentucky Wildcats. In the West, they're saying that the number 6 seeded Tennessee Volunteers will beat the 3 seed Virginia Cavaliers in the Midwest. Out there in the East, they're saying St. John's, the 5 seed, will be the 4 seed Kansas. Number 9 seeded Utah Aggies will beat the number 8 seeded Villanova Wildcats. That's out in the West. They're saying the 9 seeded Iowa Hawkeyes in the South will beat the Clemson Tigers, the 8 seed. They have the number 5 seeded Vanderbilt Commodores beat number 4 seed Nebraska Cornhuskers in the South. They're saying number 6 seeded Louisville Cardinal will take out number 3 Michigan State in the East. This is what they're saying round by round. They're saying in the first round, Duke will beat Siena. Ohio State will take out TCU. St. John's over Northern Iowa. Kansas over. They're basically going chalk. Kansas over Cal Baptist. Louisville over South Florida. Michigan State over North Dakota State. UCLA over UCF, and they're taking UConn for further. In the second round in the East, they're taking Duke over Ohio State. St. John's to beat Kansas. Louisville to take out Michigan State, and UConn to take out UCLA. In the Sweet 16, they have Duke beating St. John's. They have Louisville taking out UConn. And then the Elite 8, they have Duke over Louisville. In the West, they have Arizona beating Long Island. They have Utah State over Villanova. They have Wisconsin over High Point. They have Arkansas over Hawaii. They have NC State over BYU. Gonzaga over Kennesaw State. Miami over Missouri. And they have Purdue beating Queens in the second round. In the West, they have Arizona over Utah State, Arkansas over Wisconsin, Gonzaga over NC State, Purdue over Miami, and then the Sweet 16. Arizona over Arkansas, Gonzaga over Purdue, and in the Elite Eight, Arizona beat Gonzaga. Midwest first round, they have Michigan over winner of the UBC Howard game. They have Georgia over St. Louis, Texas Tech over Apple, Tennessee over Miami, Virginia over Wright State, Santa Clara over Kentucky, and Iowa State over Tennessee State. Second round, they have Michigan over Georgia, Texas Tech to beat Alabama. They've got Tennessee taking out Virginia, and Iowa State beating Santa Clara. In the Sweet 16, they have Michigan over Texas Tech, Iowa State over Tennessee. Elite Eight, they have Iowa State over Michigan. In the South first round, they've got Florida over Prairie A&M Lehigh. You have number 9, they have Iowa over Clemson, Vandy over Michigan State, Nebraska over Troy, North Carolina over VCU, Illinois over Penn, St. Mary's over Texas A&M, and Houston over Idaho. In second round, Florida to take out Iowa. They got Vandy taking out Nebraska. Illinois will beat North Carolina. Houston to beat St. Mary's. Sweet 16, they have Florida over Vanderbilt, Houston over Illinois. In the Elite Eight, they have Houston over Florida. The national title game. They're saying Arizona will beat Duke 80-76 to win the national title. Let's see who else. Let's go to USA Today. Blake Toppenmeyer from USA Today. His final four is Arizona, Michigan, Houston, Michigan State. He's saying the final will be Houston versus Arizona. Arizona, national champ. Matt Hayes from USA Today. His final four is Arizona, Iowa State, Duke, and Florida. Arizona versus Duke in the final in Arizona. The national title. Jordan Mendoza of USA Today. His final four: Arizona, Michigan, Duke, Florida, Duke versus Arizona in the title game with Arizona winning. Paul Meyerberg, USA Today. His final four: Arizona, St. John's, Iowa State, Houston, St. John's to play Arizona for the title. And he has John Calipari's St. John's Redmond winning the national title. Brett Schrotenboer, his final four: Duke, Florida, Iowa State, Arkansas. He has Florida playing Iowa State for the title, and Florida being the national champion. John Bryce, his final four: Duke, Illinois, Arizona. Duke versus Arizona for the title. Arizona winning. Matt Linesk, his final four is Arizona, Iowa State, Michigan State, Florida. Florida versus Iowa State for the title, and Florida winning it all. Eddie Timanis, his final four: Duke, Florida, Arizona, Michigan. Duke to play Arizona for the title. Arizona. Craig Meyer has Arkansas, Michigan, Florida. God, that's his final four. Florida versus Michigan for the title. Florida. And John Lauzzi, his final four: Duke, Houston, Arizona, Michigan. Duke versus Arizona. He has Duke winning the national title. Again, before I wrap it up here, I will give you my picks again. I have to bring them back up. Let me pull them back up if I can. If it brings them up here. Trying to bring them up, and now it's being difficult. Go figure. New technology, my friends. They're trying to come up. It's buffering. Now it's not bringing them back up. Trying to bring them up. Not coming back up. Yes, I have Michigan State playing Houston, Final Four, with Houston winning. I have Arizona playing Iowa State, Arizona winning. Arizona and Houston will play for the national title. Arizona beating Houston for the title. Houston falling just short again. So, thanks for Phil Martelli for coming on. We'll try to make it to 8 o'clock, but they are going to close here, I think, in a bit. So I'm going to wrap it up early. Thanks to Goose for letting me use his venue for the 2025-2026 NCAA men's bracket special. Actually, playing games kicking tomorrow. Stupid, but what are you going to do? It's all about life. I'm going to end it there. Fill out your brackets wisely. Again, hopefully they won't get busted after the first day. Mine usually do. So, take it at your own risk. I hope you do well. I hope you win your pool. I will see everybody tomorrow night, back to back. I have to look at the schedule again. I know I will be doing early evening sports buffet with the Ginch. I believe I will be doing probably student body right tomorrow, because some of the spring games for college football there are going to be kicking in. Maybe preview those, maybe what to watch for. But all on the East Coast, be careful with this weather going through. Be safe. Be very safe. So again, thanks to Goose. Thanks to Mr. Martelli, Mr. Phil Martelli for coming on. Fill out your brackets wisely. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Let's play some rock to send us out. Have a good night, everybody.